preparation would be exactly like we made the sauce Espanol yesterday. So, then we can also put in some rosemary. She's got rosemary on the cart.
I saw it. So you got to pick it back.
Only be making this particular sauce once. The other thing that this should probably have in it is garlic. You chopped up garlic somewhere. I saw you chop the garlic. No, I wasn't
I smashed 2 cloves for your sauté.
Okay. So I'm developing a little bit of soap on the bottom, some pond. Man, I wanted Ethiopian food too. There was a Groupon for Hannah's Kitchen in Ballard. How many of you eat Ethiopian? Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. We have a large Ethiopian and Eritrean population in Seattle. And it's, what's that? Pretty? Oh, it's delicious. I love it. I'm going to grab some wine out of here. World's smallest grain is called teff, and they grind it into flour, and the flour they make into ferment, like sourdough, and they put it on this large kind of like a big column, and it's so it's slightly tart, and it's spongy, and it's got kind of like little nooks and crannies like English muffins do, and it's really large, so like kind of like this pancake. And that's used as a base for their different types of curries that they use, which are called wots. And the bread's called injera. And then you tear off pieces of it and grab the greens and you eat with your fingers, your right hand. It's delicious. You should all try it. I have a list. Up here. And I have some copies of it, but on one side is all ethnic restaurants that I like. The other one is they go out to kind of fancier places, pub places, and pub places to go for drinks as well. So I have that up there for you guys to make a copy of. So deglaze with a little bit of white wine, and we can reduce it down now second, and we're going to add in our tomato. So tomato is the liquid, and this thickener is also tomato. So on the test. Let this simmer away, but I just don't need quite this much. I think this is a good amount. So we got all sorts of fun stuff in here, huh? A little bit of veg, some bacon, some ham, a little bit of wine, some herbs, and I think we'll throw in some garlic once we get going here as well. So we're going to let this one simmer away. Yeah?
Yes, chef.
Let's work on the Beurre Blanc first. So I'm going to put in a sachet in here as well. And I'm going to add a little bit of water. This is this just straight water?
Yes.
That way it doesn't bubble up all over the place. So I have some water in the front and water in the back. The water, I'm going to use this both for poaching my eggs. This one in the back. I'm going to do some hard-boiled eggs. And I'm going to show you some different types of eggs. I brought in some Chef Nicola custom chickens. And we're going to talk about egg sizes and stuff like that. But this is from one of his newest chicks that just started laying. This one's from one that's been made out for a while, a little established. These are generally called babies. This is why we weigh out our eggs when we're baby. Just because I can say the rest can say 2 eggs, but you know there's quite a difference in the egg size. Generally, a standard egg is about 2 ounces or so, but you're going to want to weigh it out. I mean, this might be just like an ounce and a half to 3 ounces. So we'll crack into those and taste those. Delicious. So let's do the Beurre Blanc first. So is this minute or both or just one?
Sorry.
Is this the
Just
major?
one.
Just one. Another ingredient that is in the sauce tomate is sugar. All right. So I'm going to reduce my vinegar, which is white wine vinegar, my aromatics, which is thyme and bay leaf, and shallot, which we reduced down to 7. So I also have some cream and some butter that's being cubed. I may or may not be able to get all of that butter in there. I'm certainly going to try. So I have a chinois and a ladle at the ready, and my salt and pepper. I'm ready to go on this one. I'm not going to add pepper to this. I'm not going to add the cracked pepper that we have over here because that peppercorn in here. And this is the sauce that I want that color to be lovely. So this sauce you can do with red wine as well, and it can be called a Beurre Rouge. This one is a Beurre Blanc. Traditionally, Beurre Blancs and Beurre Rouge do not have cream, but it helps as a stabilizer for you guys as students to eliminate it from breaking or messing up overnight. So the Hollandaise starts off the exact same way with a minion. While we're sitting here, I'm going to go ahead and I brought my water up to a boil. I'm going to start with can I get another one of these? Another one of those that has a
Bigger one.
One with a lid, and then we'll fill it up with cold water, and we'll do hard-boiled eggs while we're waiting for this. There should be a smaller lid back there. If not, I have one up here. I have a lid. Oh, for what size? Oh, you have a small one. That's fine. So I want cold water.
It's like some ladies like
simmer. And once it comes up to a simmer, I'm going to turn the heat off and put a lid on it for 10 minutes. All right, now I have this reduced down Blanc sack. There's hardly anything going on in here, right? Very little anyway.
Yes, chef.
So with this, now that it's all set, this is where you need to be careful. The reason I say that is because wine has residual sugar and it'll start to caramelize and you want a nice clean sauce. I used to have the chef when I was baking a pastry. He would take our eggshells out of the compost and wipe his finger through and then yell at us for wasting money. He went on to write this really famous book. It's funny, his name's Beurre, and he writes one of the most famous baking books that most culinary schools use too. So, off camera. Just saying. So what I'm looking for here is vigorous bubbles. And then the vigorous bubbles will start turning into less vigorous bubbles as the liquid starts to reduce in here. There's a fine line with the reduction of the cream. If you reduce it down too much, it becomes a solid. So we don't want to reduce it down too much. But this is starting to get nice and thick. I should be able to see the bottom of the pan now. So this is the real important part. Now that I've reduced my cream down, I'm going to turn it off. My pan is off. It's still on the heat element. I'm going to start whisking in my cold butter. Already I lost it. And you're going to try to get in about 6 ounces or so fish until all of the butter is emulsified but not melted. So again, I can't stress enough that your pan needs to be hot and it needs to be off heat, but it needs to stay on the element. If you try to do this on heat, all you're going to have is melted butter. I might not get all of it. All you're going to have is melted butter. You don't want melted butter, you want a sauce. You want it to be not thick. If your pan is too cold and you are not going in, or your butter is too cold for that matter, you're going to end up with a solid, just like whipped butter sauce, and it won't be liquidy. So this is nice. And did you weigh out the butter?
Yeah.
So I think I'm just shy of maybe like an ounce or so. All right, so I'm going to season it up salt, but I'm not going to add any pepper. Because I already have peppercorn in there, right?
Yes, chef.
Let's taste it. This is like that.
You want me to have
This will be the same water that I'm going to do my roast eggs in. About a splash of vinegar. So let's talk about vinegar in the water. So too much vinegar in the water. If I have too much vinegar in the water, it coagulates the egg proteins. It becomes too tight. It can actually pull away from the yolk itself. The process of doing poached eggs, the process of doing poached eggs, I've done them a couple different ways. Did Chef show you the vortex downstairs?
Yes.
So can you imagine if you have a restaurant filled with people and eggs Benedict's your most popular thing, how are you going to do the vortex for each one? You're not going to. So what you're going to do is do a perforated pan, right? So a long hotel pan with holes in it is a perf pan, and you're going to dip that into another hotel pan that has acidulated water. Crack your eggs in, lift them up, put them into an ice bath, and then the other thing that I've done is the vortex that does not work. All that does is kind of swirl water around and make it like spidery mess. Poaching it in water that it doesn't have any acid, it spiders out. Your proteins don't coagulate and hold a nice shape. What I do is I bring my water up to a boil, acidulated, just a splash of acidulation, and then turn it off and put a lid on it, and 2 minutes later they're perfectly cooked. But for a large amount, you're going to do it in bulk, in mass. And then you can do it with a baby ahead of time as well. So making my mignonette, same thing, same exact thing. Turn this down here, and I generally like to do, I don't like to do my eggs ahead of time like this, just because they tend to, so I might need another egg yolk, because a lot of it stays inside there. So we're trying another yolk, egg yolk. That was funny.
Yes, chef.
Stop yoking around. Get it? Two bad jokes
Those
today.
are like dad jokes.
You know.
I also, when I'm doing massive quantity of eggs, I break and I need egg yolks. I don't do, you do not have to promise you do not have time to do one at a time with your little shells. That's what housewives do. This is what you do. You go with your hand just like I did. Okay. And the reason is also, talk about the shell itself. The reason is that the shell is jagged, right? And so you might possibly puncture it. But if I need to save my whites for whatever reason, I can't, they won't whip up if there's any fat. And lecithin is fat, right? And that's the fat that's in the protein that's in egg yolk itself. So, but eggs like to go home. So if you do happen to get shell or a streak of yolk in your whites, use your shell. It acts as a magnet. The shell swims back in, and so does the egg yolk swims back in. If you have too much egg yolk in your egg whites, you probably want to start over depending on what it is. We're not using our whites today. So I have lemon juice off to the side, and I'll get to that. So now I have my mignonette that's simmering. Does this belong to somebody or is it mine now?
I think it's mine. Thank you.
It's that close. I have a good one. Yep. That's what I get for being honest. So I'm going to add in like maybe a teaspoon, just a splash of this mignonette. Just a splash. That's reducing down, and I'm reducing down on that. A splash more. I like it. So you see that we don't have a traditional double boiler. We have a bowl that's this shape, and we have a pot that's this shape. So those, check it, simmering for 10 minutes, lid off. Actually, we'll go maybe like 8 minutes for the truckload. So what happens is the sides get hot. You can feel it. This is getting hot, but this is still cold. So I need to regulate it. I need to turn off the heat. I need to regulate it by taking it on and off the heat. And the reason why is because I don't want the sides to cook and scramble. The sides right now are already hot. So the color that I'm looking for is cake batter, kind of lemony yellow, cake batter color. Turning off my mignonette, put it off to the side, reconstituting the other thing that I have is hot clarified butter. So we need to get an emulsification. The emulsification will not happen if your eggs are undercooked. All that's going to happen is that they're going to get foamy. starting to get almost to ribbon stage and getting paler in color. You can feel the sides of my pan. My pan is fairly hot, and now the bottom's starting to get hot too. I have more bottom. Alright, so this is what I'm looking for. So, here, I'll show you. See how I can see the bottom of my pan and I've got a ribbon on top? That's what I'm looking for. And it's a pale color. So what I'm going to do is turn off my water. Bring that over here. And I have my hot clarified butter. Ouch, ouch. Hot clarified butter on my pot. I want to keep this warm, right? So I have my nice emulsification. Get a 2-ounce ladle. This over the pot like so it stays warm. Hot clarified butter. Again, we don't want our health violations. So this is just like making your mayonnaise. A little bit at a time, droplets at a time. Otherwise it'll break. There's only so much, like you think of it, like you're biting this butter into the egg yolk, and if you try to go too fast, I don't think so. And it'll start to break. What do we do if it breaks?
Start over.
Start over? But what did you do yesterday with mayonnaise?
Add more.
And start over with another egg, right? And then use your broken as your oil. Right. I reconstituted my mignonette with my lemon juice. I took it outside. I like the flavor of fresh lemon juice, so I don't add lemon until the very end. And I'm going to put that over a hand strainer. You could grab one. I need a hand strainer. So right now I have about 4 ounces in there. If your hollandaise gets too thick, even after you add your mignonette, you can add maybe 2 tablespoons of hot coaching liquid as well. Thank you. Alright, so we have about 6 ounces in there. Reconstitute it with my lemon juice. So there's white wine still, there's aromatics, and some fresh lemon juice. Again, sauce. I don't add any pepper in there, just salt, because I have peppercorns in my mignonette. And it should still be warm.
Killing him, Chef. Killing him.
Morning, Chef.
They're all sitting down, dying in lecture.
It's about ready to, it's been about 10 minutes, eh?
You got 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute left. go for forever too. Let's just do an omelet. Let's let this one go for a little longer. So, French roll omelets. Roll 3 eggs. So, while we're doing that, we can also start set up. So, the chef with the best hair, John Besh. You guys know him? He's just a hot chef. He's got great hair. Anyway, I was listening to this podcast. Say that. And so I was listening to this podcast, and he was talking about Lynn Rosetta Casper. She's the host. She was talking about what are your key 3 recipes, your go-to recipes. And his go-to recipe one was this: he took like these small little cast irons, and he put a little bit of cold butter smeared on the bottom, cracked eggs, and then put them on the lowest flame ever, so they almost got custardy. So this is kind of a replica of that. So we do those for Sunnyside. And whip it well in the bowl. And the reason we whip it well in the bowl is because if we don't, you'll end up with white screws, and that's the egg whites. They look clear in here now, but if I see them where it's clear, if that doesn't get fully incorporated and fully whipped up really well, it's going to end up being white screws in the omelet. Alright, so a little bit of clarified butter in here. Get yourself one of these flexible spatulas. Like so, the smaller ones. That's really going to help you out when it comes time to folding your omelets. And I have one I love, but here it is. I like my red one. Small flexible one. A little bit of butter in the pan. And this hot clarified butter, we're going to have to make a boatload, Jackie. So there's 2 things that eggs don't like. And the first thing is high heat. And they don't like to be overcooked. Can I have a stack of plates, please? So this is different than a Western omelet. This one has, we want to develop small curds. So I'm going over a low flame, and I'm coagulating the egg and stirring and scraping it down the whole entire time. So what I'm doing is creating small, creamy, smooth curds, as opposed to a Western omelet that's puffy, which I'll make for you, which is puffy and fluffy and has color. This one has no color, and it's almost a little, it's creamy on the inside. It's not raw, it's not, it's creamy. So I'm shaking the pan and I'm going around in little circles as well. This is why, having a good pan is going to be beneficial for you. If you look in here, you can see the curds starting to develop. It's nice with a smaller group. I don't have to put the overheads on. You can just look inside.
I like we're all like looking up like, okay, Chef.
What? Well, no, I have in my other class, I have to put up the cameras over my. Oh. So my curds are starting to develop. They'll start to break down and they come together. My lovely little sunny sides are doing swimmingly as well. A little oil over the top. So shaking, shaking, shaking it. So it goes from being like this to ready to pour out of the pan pretty quickly. So if not, you worked in hotels. I think there was somebody here that said that they wanted to work in a hotel. Anyway, he was a breakfast cook. Have you worked breakfast, Brian? It's one of the fastest stations in the kitchen, really is. So this slow-mo that we're doing here wouldn't happen in a regular kitchen. You should be able to have all 4 to 6 burners going with egg. So this is more of a luxury. This is the Elizabeth David version. Who's a food writer. He wrote a book called An Omelet in a Glass of Wine, just because it's so fantastically delicious. Can you come behind me and grab the herbs that we have? So pretty much that is it. So now I need to settle it in the pan. How am I ever going to flip this out? No. I will show you. So I'm going to turn the super low down. Turn that one on. Turn that one on. So my sunny sides are ready. So I have a little bit of salt, pepper, and then a little bit of oil around the outside. Oil. Clarified butter, I should say. And I don't need a bottle of clarified butter now, so sweetie.
For Monday, not today.
Monday, not today. Bless your heart. So now it can slide around, right? So now I can add in my fresh herbs. And you want to add the filling into the inside, not the outside. Or not mixed into it. So that's done. Salt, pepper. And on my plate. Start off by rolling it in the pan, and sliding it out. So it should be smooth, no color, right? Often, if you have a little extra, you had a little extra butter on top, you can dab it off with a paper towel or a clean towel. You can also shape it. You'll see classic French chefs will split it down the middle with fillings in it. I was thinking this is between, so I don't do that. So nice, smooth, no color, creamy on the inside. It does. And they have an established bottom. How about that? They have an established bottom. Again, not on high heat. Then you just give it. Woo, that's too hard. A little flip. That was a little hard. I'll crack out another one. I'll crack out another one right next to it. These, and we'll look at the difference between the two.
The shell is so much different.
The shell is different. The color is different. So, okay. Well, here's an interesting fact. So, eggs or chickens that have red earlobes have brown eggs, and chickens that have white earlobes have white eggs. What about Aracanas though? The ones that have
Speckle.
blue, and they're blue. You'll have to Google that. Jackie, did you not know that chickens had earlobes?
It's because they were eating blue corn.
Evil.
And I don't have chicken.
And also, depending on what it is that chicken is eaten. So, say if that chicken, like in Louisiana after a crawfish ball, they'll give them the shells and their yolks will be bloody red. It's just, there we go.
What, men? Anybody want this? Yep.
No, we wouldn't. Nobody would get the chance to even say yes.
Oh,
Men would just like be it would be gone already.
So I'm gonna use the chunky stuff for another dish, but show you what it needs to look like classically. The ball, turning it off, sliding my eggs in, putting the lid on. So, poached eggs are going. Let's make some stuffed things, shall we?
Yes, chef.
Stuffed things. I'm going to do a little spice blend. I'm going to make some chuchuka, and then I'm going to get those in the oven and get some westerns going for you. And then I'm going to do an eggs Florentine, and also like 15 minutes I'm going to get as much as I get. But now, at this point, after these poach come out, we'll have done everything that we need to do. Now we're just playing. Alright?
Lovely cast iron.
Yeah, I do too. I have a good one on this side, and he does this. I see that side. So, I'm going to do a spice blend.
Thank you. If I give you the
That's what it looks like.
This one's got overcooked. Let's do two more. This got a little overcooked. That one's good. The other one put away. That one to boil.
Oh yeah, I did. You take it off.
Essentially toasting it.
I always toast my spices to bring out the essential oils. I also toast nuts for the exact same reason. Except with toasting nuts, you need to be careful you smell them. I was teaching a class, and it was mostly boys, and doing a demo, and I'm like, I smell someone's nuts! And there, yeah, of course. Just saying. So when you can smell
It's
the
like-
nuts, you can smell the.
They didn't want this.
So when they become nice and fragrant, and when I can hear my mustard seeds starting to pop,
I can smell it.
I'm
It
ready.
smells good.
drop in 2 more.
Yep.
Yeah, you hear popping? Pop in 2.
Smells your hair. It's so good. It smells like. She's like, smell it.
Smell it!
A little bit or Jackie?
What were all those spices?
So I'm making like a garam masala. 1 minute. We'll go 1 minute.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to rise up so you can